If you cannot love this child because it's a girl, I am okay with doing this alone, Matt. You rejected your daughter.
Low-key, this is kind of sounding like the problem you were having with Gino, though. Like when you were screaming and yelling all the time, and then he wasn't wanting to sleep with you.
I'm not gonna let her get away with this. I'm gonna do everything I can to her. And I don't mean her, I mean her over.
Learning that you're pregnant can be stressful at the best of times. But when your situation is as messy as the one that Jasmine finds herself in, well, that might just cause her and everyone around her to reach their breaking point. So with Gino plotting his revenge and with the honeymoon period well and truly over for Jasmine and Matt, we join them in this episode as the pair are shopping for baby clothes, but already things are very tense.
I am terrified of being a dad to a girl. And she doesn't understand that.
So in last week's episode, Jasmine and Matt found out that they were having a baby girl. Matt wasn't exactly jumping for joy at this news. Like, even now, you can see how deeply uncomfortable he is. You see, Matt had convinced himself that he was going to have a boy. So finding out that, no, it's not a boy that he's going to be the father to, it's a baby girl, has freaked him out.
It's insane. I didn't think it was going to happen. That's what I kept from not understanding, like it's a 50-50 shot. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm really stupid.
Hey, at least it's him that's admitting it himself. Like, yes, Matt, you were being very stupid. But, unfortunately, somehow he doesn't seem to be getting any smarter. You see, instead of changing course and embracing the thought of having a little girl, Matt instead is fighting against the thought of buying anything too girly. And Jasmine is sick and tired of his attitude already.
We are grabbing a lot of pink.
So what? You want to convince yourself that it's not a baby girl, and you want to buy that stuff with the hopes that, I don't know, the baby's gonna grow up a penis.
Now, Matt tries to reassure Jasmine that that isn't what he's thinking at all. It's not that I don't want a girl, he says, it's just that I can't relate to it. Like, he says to her, I was the eldest of all of my siblings, and as the oldest child, as a boy, I had to look out for everyone. So I always imagined that my first baby would follow in my footsteps, would also be a boy who'd also have to look out for younger siblings. But, Matt, sorry to break it to you, but there's a flaw in your way of thinking. It's as if both of them have forgotten that this little girl already has older brothers. Now, regardless, that's not an excuse for the way that Matt is responding. I mean, the way that he's been acting since finding out that the baby is a girl has triggered some very deep-rooted trauma for Jasmine.
My dad, the minute he knew I was a girl, he rejected me, Matt. Okay. And he disappeared off my life.
I mean, that is seriously f***ed up, isn't it? Honestly, I just can't understand how a father would turn their back on their own flesh and blood because they're female, not male. Like, Jasmine even goes on to say that when she tried to contact her dad later in life, he again made it clear to her that he had no use for a daughter. I mean, with that in mind, it must cut deep. It must really worry her, the way that Matt is acting towards their daughter. But, Jasmine, you, of all people, should know that a parent that leaves you behind, a parent that abandons you, like, for example, moving to another country, starting multiple new lives and having another kid, can cause long-lasting, deep-rooted damage. Right, Jasmine? Yeah. Clearly, Jasmine isn't Mother of the Year material either, is she? But at least she does seem determined to protect this child.
If you cannot love this child because it's a girl, I am okay with doing this alone, Matt. You rejected your daughter.
Now, Matt tries his best to explain to Jasmine or convince her that he hasn't rejected their child. I just need time, he says to her. I need a moment to adapt. Now, truth be told, whether male or female, right, I've got a sneaking suspicion that he'd have acted exactly the same way if he'd found out it was a boy. Like, perhaps the thing that's scaring him isn't the sex of the child, but rather the realisation that his life is about to forever change. But whether indeed that is the case or not, Jasmine makes her feelings incredibly clear for Matt.
If you don't prove to me that you're father material for my daughter, you're out of my life.
Well, you gotta prove yourself too then.
Just...
Such a brat, dude.
Now, that response causes Jasmine to become furious. In fact, she storms out of the shop. But, and get this, when Matt follows her outside, Jasmine becomes even angrier when she realises Matt didn't buy any of the baby clothes that she'd picked out.
You're a piece of like, honestly.
Why?
You are the worst. You know what? Gino will be happy with having a baby and wouldn't make a big deal out of having a daughter.
Wow, that is such a low blow. What she's basically saying here to her current partner is that her ex would be a better dad to their unborn child than he would be. I mean, that's a horrific thing to say. But if she really feels that way, perhaps she should have thought about that before leaving her marriage behind. But in typical Jasmine fashion, she doesn't leave it there. Oh no. She takes another shot at Matt by saying to him, "You're worse than my dad. At least he waited until I was 3 years old to leave. You, Matt," she says, "rejected your daughter at the very first ultrasound."
You were saying out loud, the baby was listening. The baby can
That baby
hear.
doesn't know English yet.
The baby feels what I feel, idiot.
Look, I understand that this is triggering, right? And I also think that Matt is an idiot.
I'm really stupid.
But resorting to name-calling isn't going to resolve anything. Plus, let's not forget, getting this upset also can't be good for the baby either. But, unfortunately, Matt isn't prepared to let things lie. She hurt him with what she had to say, so now he's determined to also hit her where it hurts.
Low-key, this is kind of sounding like the problem you were having with Gino, though. Like when you were screaming and yelling all the time, and then he wasn't wanting to sleep with you.
Now, Matt clearly knows that that's going to hurt her, but is he wrong? No, he's not. Like, we all know her mood swings, her crazy anger problems did cause, they were massive contributing factors to all of the problems she had with Gino. History could very well find itself repeating again here with Matt too. But I think on this occasion, Jasmine does have every right to be upset, so what Matt's saying isn't entirely fair.
So I am in the wrong. I am the bad person.
No, but why are you
I am the one who yelled and I scream.
Torito.
Just leave me the alone. I hate you.
Now, Jasmine gets into the back seat of the car because she doesn't want to be close to him. And it's at that point that Matt realises he's really f***ed up. "Jasmine, please," he begs her. "I don't want to be sexist or seem unsupportive. That's not the case. I'm sorry," he says to her. "Yes, I'm scared. This is all new for me, but I am here for you and our child."
I'm never gonna leave. It doesn't matter how difficult it gets. But I am scared that I'm going to fail. But it's not like I'm rejecting her or anything.
Now, Jasmine does accept Matt's apology, but she also needs time to regulate her own emotions. So, as Jasmine takes some alone time elsewhere, Gino is also taking time to work through his emotions.
Ever since Jasmine told me she was pregnant, it like totally broke my heart because I'm the one that was supposed to have a baby with her.
Hate to break it to you, Gino, but that was never gonna happen, mate. You actually have to sleep with your wife for that to happen. Now, Gino is having dinner with his nephew Anthony and his uncle Marco. And when he breaks the news to both of them that Jasmine is pregnant, Uncle Marco in particular is shocked.
I was in love with her. I walked her down the aisle. I'm crushed. I feel violated.
Uncle Marco says that he tried to treat Jasmine like the father that she never had. So this news breaks his heart too. And for the first time, Gino seems to be getting the support from his family that he's clearly been craving. Both Marco and Anthony are firmly on his side, and Gino is eating it up.
She ruined my freaking life.
I can tell that you're hurt. You're
Yeah,
hurt
I am
deep.
hurt.
You're hurt deep.
I am.
Deep.
Now, I can't speak to how deeply Gino is hurt, but what I do know is he isn't innocent in all of this either. He shares plenty of the blame for his marriage not working. But that being the case, Gino goes on to tell his family that he was so shocked when Jasmine told him that she was pregnant that he couldn't get his words out. He couldn't say to her what he really wanted to say.
Write down your feelings, just writing them down and where you guys are at with this relationship.
Then after you write them down and talk about them, take them outside and burn them.
Burn it, and with that, let Jasmine go, he says. Now, Gino loves that idea. In fact, he loves it so much that the next time we see him, he's putting that idea into motion. He's at a cafe and he's beginning to write the letter. This will give me the closure that I need, he says. But I do have a slight tweak that I want to make to Uncle Marco's suggestion.
I don't want a video chat because I don't want to see her disgusting face. I want to read it to her on the phone at the very least so that Jasmine hears it.
Gino says that he doesn't just want to burn the letter, as Marco suggested, and he doesn't want to send it to Jasmine because that would be too easy for her to throw away without actually reading it. So instead, he wants to call her and read it to her so that way he can actually hear her response. Now, I'm not sure how much thought Gino has actually given that, because that makes the massive assumption that Jasmine wouldn't just hang up the phone. But while he might not have given that possibility too much thought, the act of writing the letter, the act of rethinking everything that happened during their marriage, causes him to come to a realisation. One that only makes things even worse.
When I submitted her permanent residence, she started pursuing a man at the gym at the same time. Is that a coincidence?
Thinking through the timeline of how everything transpired, Gino has come to the belief that Jasmine was very calculated in what she did. She deliberately waited for me to file all of her paperwork and apply for her to become a resident before she then emotionally shut down, before she turned her back on our marriage and began pursuing another guy, he says. Now, this thought just makes Gino really angry. Like, if the aim was to get closure from this letter, well, things have now taken a dark turn. Instead of closure, Gino now wants to get revenge.
I'm not going to let her get away with this. I'm going to do everything I can to her. And I don't mean her. I mean her over.
Yeah, Gino, thanks for the clarity, but I don't really think it was needed. I mean, we all know you don't have much interest in fucking her, do you? Now, Gino isn't just angry that Jasmine has moved on. Oh no. You see, for someone as stingy, as tight with their money as Gino is, what seems to hurt him the most is all the money that he spent on Jasmine. Like, that seems to hurt him even more than her betrayal does.
What is it? You want to know how much I invested in this relationship? Yeah, I mean, Jasmine ripped my heart into this many pieces.
Yeah, that's right. He's actually calculated all the money he spent on Jasmine during the course of their entire relationship. Now, the fact isn't lost on me here that this is a wild thing to do considering he met her on a sugar daddy, sugar baby website. I mean, it's not exactly as if he didn't know she was there for his money. But he's now decided that he's not going to let this slide. You see, he wants to tell Jasmine exactly how much she cost him and make her pay for it.
I've invested too much of my heart, my emotion, and my money. I'm not going to let her get away with this.
Gino sounds a bit like a Disney villain here, doesn't he? If he had a moustache, he'd be twirling it right now. Now, it's not exactly clear what he means by that threat, whether he wants his money back or he wants revenge. But I'm willing to bet if he could have both, he would. Look, the truth is, Jasmine is vulnerable right now. She's pregnant and she's scared. Like, she doesn't know whether she even has Matt in her corner. So, depending on which way you look at it, Gino couldn't have picked a better or a worse time to go after her. He now vows he's gonna do everything he possibly can to hurt her. He wants to hurt her as much as she hurt his wallet.